A very good afternoon and welcome once again to the Armadillo, officially known, of course, as the Clyde Auditorium. The occasion we're looking forward to now is the final of the women's 69 kilo championship of the Commonwealth. And alongside me, Jeannie Lassen, Commonwealth champion of this very weight category back in Melbourne 2006, and still the Commonwealth Games record holder for the 69 kilo category in the clean and jerk of 132 kilos. I'm David Goldstrom, and I would ask you to sit back and enjoy what we think is going to be an exciting competition here, not least because Jeannie's going to have a special feeling about this particular weight category.
This is definitely the category I've been looking the most forward to in the women's side of the competition. I'm really curious to see, will anyone challenge at 132? I'm hoping that yes, because that means we're going to see some really heavy lifting.
Well, there are 7 candidates for gold, silver and bronze, but also worth factoring in the winner of the B group a little earlier today, Papua New Guinea, who totaled up 191 kilos. Well, on paper, even that total shouldn't be enough to trouble our 7 finalists in the competition today. As you see the auditorium filling up here, and a big home interest here for the English lifter Rebecca Tyler, who only qualified to compete here in the Commonwealth Games by 13 days. She's 15 years of age, but the rules state on the 1st of January have to be the required age, so she just by the skin of her teeth made it into the competition. And she's up against the best from Papua New Guinea and Canada and Nigeria, Cameroon, Samoa, all countries represented in this afternoon's final. So looking forward to this competition. It's one where I think, to be honest, Jeannie, your record might just stand. But on the other hand, it's quite competitive, quite close, and a little unpredictable as to who's going to come out on top. Now, this is the start list for our candidates, and there you can see weighing in at 67.37 from Nigeria, Ibireg Wesele. For the Nigerian team, she is the lightest of the class there. Go to the top of the list there. Gubahale, 68.95, very close to the weight limit, representing Papua New Guinea. So Canada double-handed, and Canada, who've got such a good record, because Jeannie, sitting 50 centimeters away from me, she won it in 2006, and then the very excellent Christine Girard, she won that in 2010. So weightlifters in the hall from Wales and Scotland side by side. Fascinating as we are about what's going to happen in the next 2 hours. So coming up to the start, and there is the snatch record, Christine Girard, who is looking forward to starting her family in the autumn, which is why she ain't here to represent Canada. 105 kilos, her snatch Commonwealth Games record. And there is my colleague and expert eye on these women. Jeannie Lassen, 132 kilos, really good record. And just for good measure, her Commonwealth all-time record is 136 kilos. I don't think that's going to go today. And Christine Girard, 235, that's the amount of kilos they're going to have to accumulate to take that away from her.
And that will be one tough battle to get that total record.
Yeah, she's sitting back in Canada, no doubt enjoying this, hopefully enjoying this, as you see the 7 contenders. Closest to you there, Gubahale.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and time to meet them personally, individually, as they're introduced to the audience one by one.
Please welcome the
So first to go, Gubahale, representing Papua
A.
New Guinea, the Oceania champion for 2014, that competition in May of this year, and out onto the competition stage.
The 2nd Commonwealth Games and placed 7th in Delhi 2010. First place at the Oceania Championships.
Big moment, always coming out onto a championship stage with the cameras and the lights.
late starter in the sport at 22 years of age.
Marie-Josée Arès-Pilon, fourth in Delhi. She'll be looking to squeeze onto the podium if she can.
Looking forward to competing, representing
also
Nigeria,
in the fight, very much in the fight, the bronze medalist from 2010 in Delhi. This is Itohan Ebireg-Weseli.
Represented Delhi in the Delhi Commonwealth Games.
Also a bronze medalist in the Commonwealth Games, but in the 63 kilo class. Marie Ferg, representing the Cameroons, have got a very strong women's squad here at the Commonwealth Games. Vanessa Louis, 22 years of age, and the runner-up in this season's Oceanic Championships to Gubahale. And so for England, the youngest British national champion ever, just 15 years of age. And it's Rebecca Tyler with mum, dad, sisters, grandma, granddad, all in the audience. And completing the lineup, Crystal and Garland, 7th in the Junior World Championships just in the last month in Kazan. So there are the 7 young women who are taking on the 69 kilo class. Well, they have, as ever, 10 minutes in which to start their preparations for the warm-up. So who will take this championship? Canada double represented, Jeannie, but no obvious easy path for those Canadians to keep your gold run continuing for a 3rd Commonwealth Games in a row.
Yeah, if you look at the start list that we're provided with, that determines who will be in the Group A and the Group B, we do have a very high total from the Cameroon athlete at 220. The next highest total is a Canadian total at 213. And then we see 208 from England. So that's, again, just a projection, and anything can happen now that the competition is about to start.
Yeah, and I'm going to factor in the Nigerian lifter, Itohan Ebireg-Weseli, for the simple reason that whenever the Nigerians give us some numbers, we always take it with a pinch of salt. They're very cagey.
Well, you know, it doesn't really matter what people say. The talking happens when the lifting happens.
The technical officials being introduced to the audience.
From Sri Lanka, Purna Karhingala.
Well, let's take a closer look at the opening weights here now, because these are all pretty close and competitive, and range from just 82 kilos up to 95 kilos for the Cameroon lifter. But of course, the Cameroon lifter, she's got to prove it. She's got to put those attempts in. On paper, she seems to have a really good advantage, particularly because she's put in a clean and jerk open of 115 kilos, which is well ahead, pretty well, of everyone, bar perhaps Marie-Josée Arès-Pilon for Canada. Always frustrating to come fourth, so there'll be a special determination, I guess, with her to turn 4th place at least into 3rd, if not a shinier medal.
That's right. I think she's definitely looking to take home some hardware here today. But what I think is really interesting is when you look back at that B group, we see 2 athletes posted an 85 kilo snatch, and then we come into this group and we have 3 more that will be starting, or 4 more, sorry, in the 80s, the low 80s to 85. So it's going to be some serious traffic. There's a good potential for those 2 athletes that posted 85 to stay ahead of these other athletes in the A group after the snatch.
Yeah, it's a very good point. So as we get underway, just a reminder that it was Sandra Ako of Papua New Guinea, who total of 191 kilos, is effectively the leader in the clubhouse, and she achieved that 191 with an 85 kilo snatch and a 106 clean and jerk. So if the first athlete comes out for less than 85 kilos, even if she lifts it, then she may still be behind Sandra Ako in the early stages in this competition.
Member of the jury from Australia, Pedro Sanchez. Member of the jury from England, Stuart Treadwell.
Well, it's been really interesting with the 2 juries here. There's 2 teams of officials, This team have, by and large, been adjudicating over the B finals for the majority of the first 5 days of the competition. But here they are, now responsible for this A final and this evening's 85-kilo final. And by contrast, they've been quite passive in terms of overturning decisions compared to the other jury.
Well, I think that it's standard fare to have the juries and officials switch up throughout the week of competition. So nothing out of the ordinary here. It's definitely one of the most stressful positions to be in. Those 3 chairs right closest to the platform, and then the 5 jury members looking on and having just a bit longer to make the decision about the lift. Those 3 referees, they need to make a decision whether the lift is good or bad according to the rules within the second that that lift happens. Then we go back to the jury for their reflection. That's Crystal and Garlam from Canada, still a junior athlete, just competed at the Junior Worlds. She's gone to 4 Junior Worlds already. Very impressive.
Yeah, I thought the 7th place actually was pretty decent in Kazan, and that was only a month ago. It's quite interesting actually when you come from one competition to another quite quickly. For some lifters, that suits them. It's a sort of momentum continuous.
Well, you can see that Crystal is clearly very seasoned because she actually managed to pull off personal bests just a month ago at an international competition, and that doesn't happen every day.
Moving along the line here.
There we go, that's our athlete from Nigeria, just resting. She's starting quite heavy, so when you are one of the late starters in the competition, you want to make sure you don't warm up too quickly. Sorry, she's from Cameroon, my bad. Still one of the later starters, so doesn't want to be starting right away because you're going to use up that energy that you need to be saving so that you can come out onto the platform ready for that weight when it's time.
And the reason you're seeing them just all wrapped up, keeping warm in the warm-up area is simply because there is a sort of back door that's open and there's a little bit of a breeze going in there, and that combined with the air conditioning can get a little bit chilly. Although I have to say the Scottish sunshine has returned today. Now, there's the bar, 15 kilos. You can see those big reds, 25 kilos each. The collar's on as well, 2.5 kilos of those.
That's right. It's very easy to see a number on the side of the bar and think, oh, that girl's lifting 25 kilos, but you have to add up both sides of the bar, the weight, the collars. There's a lot of math involved in this sport. Sometimes that is working in people's favor. Sometimes that's one of the biggest opponents you will face in this sport.
Coming around, and this is Rebecca Tyler's corner. Remarkable young woman. She's just a ball of energy. The coaches, they talk about her and they say, well, you know, she's just around and up and active. This young woman who came from sprinting 100, 200 meters, and she's got some explosive times.
She really does. In the 100 meter at 12 years old, she did 12 seconds flat. I'm no sprint expert, but that's fast.
Yeah, lives these days up in Yorkshire, and we need to keep an eye on the youth records to see whether she might be going for some of those today. There on the far side, the loaders, who have a pretty busy time, accurately and efficiently changing the weights on the bar. Just in the foreground, you can see all the paraphernalia of the secretariat desk, where the competition adjudication is controlled from. On the far side, behind the loaders there, all the music and lighting and entertainment side of the business is conducted.
And we were just talking about the loaders. An important note is that in competition, it's very rare that you'll see an athlete loading their own bar. They're conserving all of their energy for all of the attempts they have to do out here in front of us on the competition platform. It's not like that in training, though. That's Marie-Josée Arez-Pilon. She goes by MJ. MJ definitely doesn't have anyone loading the bar for her back home. She trains in her garage.
Yeah, twice a day.
That's right. She's close to a full-time athlete, makes some money on the side doing massages. She's a professional massage therapist.
Moving around to the Nigerian camp. Bronze medalist in the Commonwealth Games last season, or last time I should say, in Delhi. 95 kilos on the snatch, 120 for 215, but only got 2 out of 6 attempts in Delhi, so sort of pulled that medal out of nothing. So just over a minute to go.
There's the Canadian team in the audience. Daryl Conrad that lifted earlier, Isabelle Desprez that lifted earlier, David Samayoa, and over on the right we see Marie-Ève Beauchemin-Nadeau, who was a medalist in Delhi, the 75 kilo class. She'll be on tomorrow. Nicolas Vachon lifted in the 69s, and Marie-Julie Malboeuf that lifted in the 53s earlier this week. So as athletes finish their competition, they're more likely to come into the audience and actually cheer their teammates on. As I said earlier in the day, it's very stressful to be watching from the audience before you've lifted yourself.
So once again, a very warm welcome to the Clyde Auditorium for the opening of the Women's 69 Kilo Championship of the Commonwealth. Ginny Lassen, together with myself, David Goldstrom, as we look forward to the first of our 7 finalists. And it's Vanessa Liu for Samoa, who's going to get us underway with a first attempt of 80 kilos. Vanessa Liu, 22 years of age, runner-up in this season's Oceanic Championships, and the woman who beat her also in this afternoon's lineup. Her entry total, 200 kilos, and interesting here that she's put 80 kilos on the bar. That is just 5 kilos short of her personal best, but she originally proposed 82 as her starter, so just a small concern that warm-up hasn't gone so well.
Maybe a small case of the nerves. You can see the power was definitely there. Wasn't a super aggressive catch. Just a couple centimeters back. Couldn't hold on to it.
And just looking at the board, I don't think anybody else is going to want this particular weight.
It will be Halle, Papua New Guinea.
Well, that's the next athlete, but I still think that Vanessa Liu has got to come out and take this 80 kilos.
Samoa, 80 kilos, second attempt.
There has been a change behind the scenes, however, as the athlete from Nigeria had planned at coming out at 83, and now we can see she's asked for 89. That's a big jump. Her warm-up must be going great.
What did I say about those Nigerian figures?
You're right again, David.
Trust them, or at least take them with a pinch of salt. Nigeria.
She is not taking any time here.
Nigerian's the top women's nation at the moment, tussling with India for supremacy overall. But now Vanessa Liu, fired up, needs to get any of those nerves away from her, just focus on the job, which she's done a million times, locks on, more than a minute in which to win this lift.
That's what she had in mind the first time.
I was going to say, very good.
80 kilos and she's on the board, 81 kilos loaders.
Wondering if she's got some elbow injury happening there. She's really grabbing her right elbow. Might have been a little irritated at that first lift when she didn't let go right away.
Well,
She's nodding her head, yes.
80 kilos made, and it gives her a chance to potentially put on perhaps another 5 kilos for the third and final attempt. But she's got time to relax at the moment. They've actually pushed the bar up to 83, but that's the first of their 2 changes. So they buy a little time, and then they have a little discussion about whether they want to go any further.
Really curious to see what's going on with her elbow. We've got her sitting there, still kind of fidgeting, as the coaches look on at the scoreboard, trying to decide what to do. Right at 85.
85 kilos for Gubahale and Vanessa Liu for her third attempt on 85. So she's got time.
Taking that heavier weight gives herself a chance to recover more. If she is experiencing some pain, she has some time to deal with it and mentally prepare for that last attempt.
So Gubahale coming out for her first attempt from Port Moresby in Papua New Guinea, coached by Paul Coffer. 7th 4 years ago in the 69 kilo class in Delhi, but this season's Oceanic champion just a couple of months ago. And she snatched this very weight.
And that is textbook. You can see there's room for a lot more.
As expected, first lift safely accomplished. And the auditorium getting ready for the first appearance of the English lifter, but having a look at this really solid drive up there, never really in any doubt that she was going to achieve this.
No, she threw that from the hips right into the perfect catch position.
But Christelle and Garlem coming on for Canada's first attempt, also at 85 kilos. So this just underlines how close this competition is. Just 19 years of age, 7th last month in Kazan, in Tatarstan, in the Junior World Championships. That was a very respectable performance. And in that performance, she actually snatched 90 kilos. So this is on the evidence of that. A straightforward start.
Good patience in the bottom there, held on to it, made sure she was stable before standing up. A little bit of an error, waiting for that buzzer to go off would have been a good move before lifting it, but she is clearly focused. It didn't rattle her.
So Christelle, pretty satisfied with that, sitting back there. Lives in Montreal and started her weightlifting career at the age of 11.
Okay, let's see if this Samoan athlete is able to hold on to that bar in the overhead position, given the irritation she seems to have with her elbows.
So this is on her personal best mark of 85 kilos. So despite that first attempt failure, a chance to at least pull up to that level.
You could see she was a little hesitant to pull it back into that perfect catch position, putting a little bit of more pressure on her elbows than she's already experienced in these first 2 lifts.
88 kilos. This will be the second attempt in the
So just looking at the board here in terms of who's coming in when.
Yeah, she kicked that forward. She wasn't ready to commit to holding that overhead at arm's length.
Marie-Josée Arès-Pilon has posted 95 kilos for her opener. Marie Fugue for Cameroon, also 95 kilos. And Rebecca Tyler has gone up to 89 kilos for her opening lift. And now the change again. Well, that's wrong. It's not going to be the Nigerians. And Rebecca Tyler, who's going to come in for 89 kilos.
I don't see her anywhere in the warm-up there, though, so my guess is a change. And yes, we see her coach there at the Marshall table, signing off.
Mike Pearman signing it in.
See 91 there on the paper. She's looking ready. Crystal is being called.
So
She wants more. Floaters 90 kilos.
And the poker playing game has begun. So this is a lot of lifting, but even more jockeying for the proper position. When you're going to make your weight, when you're going to enter into this competition, how can you fool your competitors into thinking that they need to do less than they actually need to do to have a chance of surpassing you?
he needs a very serious warning urgently.
90 kilos on the bar from Papua New Guinea, Gubahale.
So after all the chops and changes, it is Gubahale coming out here for 90 kilos. But this is the chess game, very early into the game. And the poker cards will come later. But it's a 5 kilo increase. She got 85 kilos, now coming for 90. Lifting well within her capacity. She has a personal best of 97 kilos. Won the Oceanic Championship with just 85.
Almost. She got so low. As she got into that very deep position, the bar went slightly backwards and she was unable to transfer her weight forward to hold on to it.
90 kilos being requested.
So
By two athletes right now, Crystal and Garland.
Crystal and Garland looking for a second attempt of 90 kilos. And of course, Gubahale's got to come out again and try this.
She's looking very confident. I think she's had just the right amount of rest between